Imagine spending your entire adult life training for a marathon. You sacrifice your knees, you memorize every single inch of the route.
You're completely optimizing your diet for years.
Right, exactly. And then you show up on race day, laced up and ready, only to realize the race has been entirely replaced by a bullet train.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You can still get to the finish line, in fact, you can get there much faster, but your legs suddenly feel entirely useless.
Just like, what do you even do with all that training?
What do you do with those legs? Welcome to episode 10 of our special 11-part cinematic series, exploring each chapter of Breeze Dong's book, A Soulful Transition, Finding Heart-Led Career in the Age of AI.
And this is such an important deep dive today.
It really is. For this deep dive, I actually want to invite you, our listener, to imagine we're just sitting together by a fireplace. Let the crackle of that fire fill the silence for a second. Lean back.
Yeah, we aren't here to frantically learn like some new productivity framework. We are here to remember something ancient.
Because if you are tuning into this right now, chances are you've lived several professional lives already. You've played the relentless striver pulling all-nighters.
The brilliant strategist mapping out the 5-year plan.
Yeah, or the fixer they parachute in when things are broken. You know how to play the game and you know how to win.
But the board has changed.
It really has. You've probably watched certainty dissolve gradually over your career, but now, with artificial intelligence accelerating literally everything we touch, there's a totally new texture to the air.
There really is.
You might feel genuine awe at what these tools can do. I know I do. But right alongside that awe, buzzing just underneath the surface, there is this deep, vibrating unease in your bones.
And it is an unease echoing through every boardroom right now, even if, nobody's really admitting it.
Right.
On the surface, corporate conversations remain incredibly polished. We talk about productivity gains, automation layers, the democratization of intelligence.
All the buzzwords.
All the buzzwords. But underneath the jargon, a quiet, haunting question is moving through everyone, from the summer intern to the CEO.
And that question is the entire mission of our deep dive today. It's this, what is left of me when what I do can be done better, faster, and cheaper by something that does not breathe?
It's a heavy question. And the goal here isn't to hand you a neat 5-point checklist to solve it. Wisdom doesn't arrive through a PowerPoint slide.
Definitely not.
It arrives through sitting with the uncomfortable reality of the situation.
So to figure out what is left of us, it seems we first have to confront what it is we are actually losing. Breeze Dong introduces a concept in this chapter that perfectly captures that useless legs feeling from the marathon analogy.
She calls it the subtle grief.
Right. But, is this really grief? Or is it just the usual anxiety we always get about a new technology, like when the internet came out?
Well, what's fascinating here is this isn't dramatic grief. It's not the kind of profound loss that stops your life in its tracks. It is a quiet, persistent ache. Biologically, it's literally that tension that settles in your jaw while you're staring at a screen.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Right. Or the tightness in your shoulders that won't go away after a quote-unquote successful week. It goes completely unnamed because it doesn't fit into our standard corporate language.
Yeah, you can't exactly put grieving my professional utility on a quarterly progress report.
Exactly. It's the grief of realizing that our entire identity, our fundamental sense of worth in the world, was built securely around our output.
The deck we built, the deal we closed.
The strategic analysis we ran. We believed, often subconsciously, that our effort guaranteed our relevance, that our cognitive competence ensured our belonging in the tribe.
But now a machine can draft that strategy, write that code, or analyze that merger in like 14 seconds. The anchor to that output has been completely severed.
It really has.
There's a specific story in the book that paints such a visceral picture of this. It's about a senior executive who actually succeeded in automating his entire division.
Oh yeah, that story's incredible.
Right. On paper, this guy was a rock star. His efficiency metrics were off the charts, costs were down, errors were totally eliminated.
But look at the actual mechanics of his day-to-day life, before and after that triumph. Before, he was the bottleneck, sure, but he was also the protector of the people.
Yeah, people came to his office with hard, messy problems.
He had to negotiate, mentor, and grind through the friction. After the automation, he was just, watching dashboards.
The author describes sitting across the table from him, and he just looked physically smaller.
He admitted that for the first time in 30 years, his relentless striving no longer felt like growth. It felt like avoidance.
He was wearing the mask of the architect of the future, but underneath he felt entirely hollow. And the big takeaway for you listening right now is that AI hasn't actually created this grief.
No, it hasn't generated this emptiness out of nowhere.
It just stripped away our distractions. It pulled back the curtain to reveal a pretty uncomfortable truth. If we believe we are nothing more than the sum of our cognitive output, we were essentially acting like machines all along.
AI just happens to be a much better machine. It forces a reckoning. If you spend your whole life trying to be the most efficient processor of information in the room, what happens when you are definitively outmatched?
Right.
It invites us to find the human being that was suffocating underneath the armor of efficiency.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if our machine-like output is gone, if being the sharpest, most analytical person is no longer the ultimate currency, what on earth replaces it?
Well, for generations, expertise was authority. But AI has taken raw cognitive intelligence and turned it into an abundant, cheap commodity.
So the mirror AI holds up asks us to completely flip our perspective.
Exactly. If intelligence is no longer scarce, what is?
Wait, I have to stop you there. Because when people ask that question, the immediate pivot is always to soft skills. Yeah. Empathy, ethics, active listening.
Sure. Yeah.
And frankly, when I hear the word presencing, which is the term Breeze Dong uses in the book, my eyes immediately roll.
I don't blame you at all.
It just sounds like we're repackaging corporate mindfulness so people can take a deep breath before returning to their ruthless 80-hour work weeks.
Mindfulness as a productivity hack is an absolute plague in modern business.
Yes.
We see it everywhere. Sitting in a lotus pose for 10 minutes just so you can squeeze out 12 hours of hyper-optimized output later. But what the book is describing with presencing is fundamentally different.
How so?
Actually, it's dangerous to the ego because it is the complete opposite of a productivity hack.
Dangerous in what way, though?
Presencing is the willingness to stay with what is real and often deeply uncomfortable without rushing to fix it.
Without fixing it.
Right? Think about how we operate normally. When a complex, messy problem arises, say, a massive shift in market dynamics, our immediate instinct is to resolve the anxiety by jumping into action.
We schedule a meeting, create a task force.
We demand a new dashboard. We try to control the discomfort by being busy.
We just want to clear the inbox.
Exactly. But presencing means letting the inbox burn while you actually look at the burning building. It is the courage to pause in the exact moments when taking action feels like the only safe harbor.
Wow.
What is truly scarce today isn't empathy as a skill. It's the capacity to sit in the center of overwhelming complexity without fragmenting.
It's about becoming an available person.
Yes, available to the actual pain of a team facing layoffs, rather than hiding behind a carefully crafted HR email.
Or available to the terrifying uncertainty of not knowing what the industry will look like in 6 months. That sounds incredibly difficult. How do we actually do that when we are paid to be brains on sticks?
It's hard.
We have spent our entire adult lives living purely from the neck up.
And this is where we have to talk about the biology of leadership. The body is the ultimate anchor here.
The body.
Yeah, as a leader, your brain is a magnificent processor, but your body is the instrument of presence. Presencing requires a nervous system that actually reacts to the world.
And that's the one thing AI definitively lacks. It has no nervous system. It has no biological skin in the game.
Exactly. Consider the mechanics of it. AI can process 1 billion data points about a potential supply chain restructure with godlike speed. But it cannot suffer those data points.
It cannot lose sleep wrestling with its integrity.
It doesn't get a knot in its stomach when it realizes a decision will destroy a local economy. Presencing is inherently inefficient because human nervous systems require time to process moral weight.
Right.
You cannot optimize the act of being present, which is precisely why it is the most indispensable thing a human can do.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Think about the last time you were staring at a spreadsheet that told you to do one thing, but your gut was absolutely screaming at you to do another.
Oh, yes. The Marcus story.
Exactly. That's exactly where Marcus found himself. The book shares this incredible story about him. He's a CEO who was facing a massive divestiture. He needed to close plants and sell off parts of the business.
And every single spreadsheet, every high-price consultant, every efficiency metric pointed to an obvious yes.
It was a total slam dunk for the balance sheet.
But Marcus didn't just sign the paper. He didn't just look at the aggregated data on his screen.
No, he physically went to the plant floors.
He walked around. And what did he see? He saw the rust on the machines that generations of families had maintained. He saw the tired eyes of the shift managers.
He felt the specific gravity of the town that entirely relied on that plant's existence. He stayed close to the discomfort for 3 weeks.
His nervous system was taking in data that an algorithm literally cannot compute.
Precisely. And by allowing his body to process that discomfort, a deeper truth emerged.
He realized that pulling out of that town would profoundly fracture the company's social contract.
The financial gain would be immediate, but the remaining employees across the globe would completely lose their sense of psychological safety and belonging.
The long-term rot would destroy the company. So, against all the perfectly optimized AI data, he said no.
He chose the slower, more costly, deeply inefficient path because it was the human path.
And this connects to such a massive trap we are all falling into. AI constantly tempts us to delegate our ethical authority to algorithms.
Oh, absolutely.
When a system offers a recommendation with a 99% confidence score, it is so incredibly tempting to surrender our judgment.
It's the ultimate out. Like, the computer said we should fire these people or cut this supplier. Don't blame me.
I'm just following the data.
Right.
But presencing restores our inner authority. It proves that no system, however sophisticated, can carry the ethical weight of a decision on your behalf.
Only a human being can carry moral weight, because only a human being has to live with the biological and social consequences of the choice.
And we need to be clear, the goal of this presencing isn't to feel calm.
Right, we aren't trying to be the Zen monk who feels nothing while the company burns.
Often what we call calm in the corporate world is actually just dissociation wearing a peaceful mask.
Mm-hmm.
Presencing doesn't ask you to be calm. It asks you to be real. To feel the tremor in your lungs before a difficult town hall meeting, to feel the heat in your face when admitting a mistake, and to still stand there and hold the room.
Okay, so if presencing is the courage to stay in that discomfort, what happens after you stay? You don't just stand there forever.
No, you don't.
The book moves from presencing to synthesis, which it defines as the patience to see. But it sounds like, well, if we look at how AI summarizes a 100-page report, it's just chopping it up.
It's basically a high-speed blender making a data smoothie.
Right. You get all the calories, all the bullet points, but there's absolutely no texture. Human synthesis has to be something entirely different.
The data smoothie is the perfect analogy. AI aggregates, it blends. Human synthesis is more like tending to a complex ecosystem.
We live in what Breeze Dong calls the age of fragments.
We are actually rewarded for fragmentation. We treat the business side and the people side of an organization as if they were two entirely different species. We separate profit from community.
And AI amplifies that fragmentation because it optimizes isolated tasks perfectly without ever understanding the whole.
It treats life as a series of solvable, isolated puzzles. But human beings don't suffer because puzzles are unsolved. We suffer because our lives feel incoherent.
Synthesis is the human act of restoring that coherence.
It doesn't eliminate the complexity, it holds it all together in one frame. The book outlines why machines can aggregate, but only humans can synthesize, breaking it down into 3 mechanics that AI fundamentally lacks.
Let's walk through those. The first one is embodied memory.
And this isn't just a database of past events. Embodied memory is the visceral bodily knowledge of having actually lived through previous cycles of change.
And AI can access the data of the 2008 financial crash, sure.
But human synthesis relies on the leader who remembers what it actually felt like in the room when the credit markets froze. The smell of the stale coffee, the panic in a colleague's voice.
That bodily memory shapes how you navigate the current crisis. The second requirement for synthesis is judgment shaped by consequence.
Right. A machine can give you a probability score for success. But human synthesis includes the heavy, gritty reality of consequence.
It is the wisdom forged by having sat across from someone whose life you fundamentally altered by a decision you made.
AI doesn't have to look anyone in the eye after it makes a recommendation. You do.
And the third piece is tested values. I think this is where the rubber really meets the road.
It is. Tested values aren't the sterile principles written on a poster in the corporate break room.
No, AI can read that poster and simulate an output that aligns with the word integrity.
But human synthesis relies on values tried in the fire of reality. It's the memory of that time you had to recall a defective product and take a massive multi-million-dollar financial hit because it was the right thing to do.
And AI can't feel the sting of lost revenue or the pressure from furious board members.
Only a human knows what it actually costs to uphold a value when it hurts.
When you are synthesizing all these fragmented parts, the memory, the consequences, the values, you are implicitly answering questions that an algorithm can't even comprehend, let alone ask.
This raises an important question. What do we value enough to protect, even if it hurts our margins?
AI can be programmed with ethical guardrails to avoid bias, but it absolutely cannot carry moral imagination. That burden and that privilege belongs entirely to the human leader.
It requires you to let contradictory parts of yourself sit at the exact same table.
Oh, I love that.
The part of you that is exhausted and longs for rest has to sit across from the part of you that still feels a profound calling to serve your team. You synthesize those conflicting truths.
So how does a leader actually live this out on a random Tuesday? How does presencing and synthesis show up in the day-to-day grind?
According to the chapter, it ultimately comes down to our relationship with timing.
There's this profound story about an elder statesman named Robert.
Robert was at the twilight of a very distinguished career, but he still wielded immense influence.
He was offered this highly prestigious, incredibly strategic board chair role.
Everyone around him, his peers, his family, his mentors, expected a very quick yes. On paper, it made perfect logical sense. It was the crowning achievement.
But Robert felt something essential had gone quiet inside him. He told the author, "I can still decide. I just don't know why anymore."
He wasn't burned out in the traditional sense. He was just deeply tired of closing questions too quickly. He was tired of choosing paths that felt clever and strategic, but didn't feel true to his soul.
Look at the mechanics of what Robert did next, because it is the antithesis of the AI age. He didn't gather more data.
He didn't ask ChatGPT to run a sophisticated pros and cons matrix.
He simply waited. He took walks every morning without his phone, without listening to a podcast. He forced himself to just sit with the agonizing discomfort of not knowing the answer.
And as he walked, he noticed a physical tightening in his throat every single time he imagined himself accepting the role.
There is the body acting as the anchor again. The raw data said yes, his ego said yes, but his nervous system was slamming the brakes.
In that quiet space he created, he asked himself a question that no amount of market data could ever answer. What am I here to serve now, not prove?
And eventually, he quietly declined the role. He chose to return to internal coherence, rather than simply maintaining external relevance. So, what does this all mean?
It means that while AI is designed to compress choices into milliseconds, offering friction-free clarity on demand, human wisdom fundamentally respects timing.
Human wisdom is knowing when not to decide. It's allowing a problem to marinate.
The leaders of the coming decade won't be the ones who process information the fastest. They won't even be the most informed, because the machine will always have more data.
The leaders who actually matter will be the ones who can stand in the absolute center of chaotic complexity without polarizing the system.
They'll be the ones who can hold grief without collapsing. They will integrate the lessons of the past with the demands of the future without falling into the trap of nostalgia. They will be the anchors.
I want to bring this deep dive directly into your world right now as you listen to this. The chapter ends with a wisdom audit workbook, and I want to challenge you with these exercises because they are incredibly confronting.
They really are.
First, take a hard look at your calendar for the upcoming week. Where are you spending your energy on processing, meaning sorting data, reacting to emails, rushing to close open questions versus presencing?
Where are you deliberately holding space for complexity, sensing the actual vibe of your team, and listening for the things that are remaining unspoken?
If you are entirely booked with processing, you are essentially competing with a machine on its own turf.
And you will lose.
Cool.
The second exercise is called the table of self. Imagine all the different identities you hold, the ruthless leader, the vulnerable parent, the grieving friend, the curious artist, all sitting at one boardroom table.
Is there a part of your life that you routinely banish from your leadership meetings?
What would happen tomorrow if you allowed that exiled part of yourself to actually speak to the current challenges your company is facing?
And finally, there is the wait. I absolutely love the mechanics of this one. Take one major pressing decision that is currently sitting on your desk, the one you are itching to resolve just to get it off your plate.
Commit to not resolving it for 24 hours.
Just walk with it. Breathe with it. Notice where it physically presses into your body. Does your chest tighten? Does your jaw clench?
Ask yourself the hard question. Am I choosing this path because it makes me look clever, or am I choosing it because it is true?
That 24-hour pause is an act of rebellion. It's about intentionally returning to human time rather than surrendering to machine time. I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over as you step back into the reality of your day, building on everything we've unpacked.
Think about that bullet train we mentioned at the very beginning.
Exactly. If the ultimate goal of AI is perfect, frictionless, instantaneous optimization, what if the friction we feel as human beings isn't actually a flaw?
What if our lingering doubts, our bodily discomforts, our hesitations, that sudden tightening in the throat before we speak?
What if that friction isn't a bug in human leadership, but the very mechanism of human evolution?
It's a profound shift in perspective. The friction is the point. The friction is where the humanity lives.
The next time you feel the overwhelming urge to optimize an uncomfortable moment away, or to rush a complex human problem into a simple data solution, stop and ask yourself, what is the highly efficient, output-driven AI inside my own head trying to drown out right now?
What is my body trying to tell me that my brain is ignoring?
Thank you for joining us for episode 10 of this series. We encourage you to stay in the friction, to see the whole ecosystem, and to serve what is quietly asking to be born in your life. We'll see you on the next deep dive.